I hate the sound of my own voice. Who doesn't? I'm PaperMonkey. It's been a minute since I performed live in front of a crowd I don't know, but here it goes.
Oh.
This is called Can You Hear Me? Can you hear me? Thank you. This is quote unquote it. Bypassing the nostalgia of the faintly familiar crinkly sounds of Webster's papery pages, I move through all of the pop psychologically defined stages of acceptance like kaleidoscope, sped read, incomplete, and indecipherable run-on sentence. The search bar results resides below the residue of pointed fingers and oil-slick lingering streaks over the second line, defining the hypothetically imprisoned it as follows. 2 dot close parentheses, used to identify a person, period. With the next line below giving the sample example, it's me, which personally is hilariously de novo, given that I was verbose in my delivery to relay the 2 words between the 2 quotation marks. That's seemingly all it takes to be an it. I don't cringe to hide myself from the coincidence that I detest an overuse of an ellipses just as much as I despise air quotes and pockmarkings of the overtly parenthetical, but I cringe at the thought of simple people assuming that the subtext example of the word it being it's me is in fact 3 words, not 2. It is me. Now that it is profoundly uncontracted and exponentially more attractive than the preposterous apostrophe placed lackadaisically between it and is, it is, however, currently, unfortunately, but sometimes fortunately, the way the world works now. It's because the word service has been replaced by the enigmatic entity of servers. It has been a blessed curse. The sudden and not so subtle burst of severely right-angled thinkers paired with 5-hour energy drink poison and the golden corral-sized portions of technological tinkerers enamored by anything LED has been amusing to witness and to be a part of, but can we please de-evolve our species just enough to fully apply ourselves with meaning-filled words? Meaning-filled words. Like when the words we use acted as a medium, effervescently break-waltzing in an interpretive modern dance as if Mozart and Dizzy Gillespie birthed a universal canvas that was wildly palette-knifed and poured into a malleable, data-filled mind like an illustrious Italian merino velvet goose liver gravy. And as a result, deeply gouged and textured openings depart off the stretcher bars and into the ether like a performance piece with an inexplicable and unimaginable complexity. My art is my runway. A scene that descends like a humbled mist, fogging up the convex coverings of corneas, the faint music, the sky-kissed space, and the unintentional fast-paced but definitively controlled movements inspire like delightfully amused muses taking off from tarmacs with wind-burned crimson faces. Excuseless. The news of my flight's undetermined destination fills nonverbal speakers with the momentum from my liftoff, spinning my wheels like Charybdis, searching for viable victims. Piloting? I have barely left the starting gate. To put it plainly, it would be a mistake to land. Creativity is my air, and it would be a waste to tuck my mission into that desk-filled vanilla life under M for Manila folder, filed under out of luck to preach that ultimately there is art equals culture and culture equals giving a F. So in a way, when I choose to look upwards and realize that my highest highs can never compare to my lowest lows, I can no longer excuse, deny, or suppress myself into thinking I cannot rest on the same shelf as the very heavens itself. Where clouds allow my fleeting thoughts to physically manifest the best in us, where typically we can digest or determine the difference between a gold rush kind of lust and the beauty behind the color of rust that was actually oxidized by reality, time, and dust. If my worth permitted me, I'd invest every single last percent of what what I have that's valuable, because I trust that the stock of offbeat drums will rise like wild sunflowers. The seldomly selected some of us are masters of our crafts, and we are, everyone here, honestly. We are moved by bronze and ceramic casters, kept up at night from the calm we find in the sounds of ink pens scratching the surfaces of poetry and giving an F word that knowing that today is exactly what day it is. It's now, forward towards the future, and because it's made from the bleeding heartstrings, strummed so emotionally that creative minds go deaf and dumb. Math spells out equator as one who equates, while wild winds stake claim, allowing the setting sun to radiate the nerves filled shakes out of the terms, whatever it takes, and learn from your mistakes. Subtract the bowl and add the contract, stipulating that the bangs that are tied back hang so tightly that the tears fear to fight the fight back lightly, slightly making it painful to shed light on what might be enlightening. It's frightening to believe that people purposely subject themselves to the aches and pains of a creative and passionate release, to ease the pounding pressure on and below their brain. Creatives stake an unsubstantiated claim to mentally and physically manifest a seemingly unobtainable and unimaginable vision. Why? Because the arts refuse to momentarily pause long enough to intellectually deduce that your intensely played and replayed reenactment of what you call self-expressionism is an ism that refracts your laser concentrated beam of light that's turbulently controlled to practically a schism. The use of the word prism wouldn't do you or I any justice in fusion of form and function, while simultaneously using treasonous reasoning to debate whether your color choice was poor like the flies fluttering out of the folds in your wallet. But in due time, it must feel mighty to be highly regarded and recognized for a wandering mind, wondering who, what, and where I can find the I in significance. Thankfully, they are presently too. There are many differences between you and me, but the I and I alone is what's plastered on the walls of what's between my headphones and what duty calls the bedmoans of conception. My perception is your reality, and the shimmering moisture pooling in my tear ducts are not formed from the sodium chloride. I don't even think that they're even tears. They are symbols of my freedom, free from the tragic reality that art has magically disappeared. From you, not me. And that's the way it should be.